Bootcamp time. Real quick though, I'd like to make a quick summation of the different areas that I've talked about that are going to affect your search engine marketing strategy, and more importantly, your organic rankings. Because what I'd really like to do is empower you to have a very good understanding of how much weight the different areas cover. So, like as I mentioned, this isn't scripted, but we talked about your authority, Google Places. We talked about content, we talked about social, and we talked about backlinks. I'm sure we'll have more questions about that. But really, I'd like you to walk away with how much weight those different areas carry to get you to the top, to push you to the top. So let's talk about that. Backlinks, the true core engineering of SEO and optimizing your website, carry about 50% of the overall weight. So in a traditional SEO campaign to rank your website to the top on the first page of Google, if 50% of that is not coming from hardcore engineering, backlink development, on-page optimization, you really are not going to see any results. Then the other three areas, content, about anywhere between 10 to 20% of weight is carried from content. Rule of thumb, your content needs to be updated and refreshed about once every 5-6 months. When was the last time you refreshed your content? Google's checking. It's looking at the date stamp. When was the last time you updated some of the content on your pages? That gives you a huge advantage over your competition. They may also be doing a lot of hardcore SEO engineering, but they're not updating the content of their website. So yes, it's a smaller factor, it's a smaller piece of the pie, but if you don't do that, 10 to 20% with refreshed content, you're not going to have the greatest results. We talked about social media. Obviously, there are other potential good outcomes, side effects if you will, of social media, virally, referrals, so forth, etc., etc. But there's also the residual weight a link from social carries that are going to help promote your organic rankings. That covers social, and that covers your Google Places. And lastly, we're also going to talk about, localization. So again, the fourth factor, how much weight does your Google Places carry? That's another 10 to 15% chunk of that carries the rest of the weight. So, how up to date is your Google Places? If it's not, maybe you are doing the other 80% of it, but you're not going to rise to the top unless your website is really well grounded and you're communicating that to Google. So, I hope that really empowers you, because if you walk away with an understanding of how much weight all those pieces carry and that you have to do them, then you'll have great results. So, bootcamp time. On-page optimization soldiers. This is fundamental. If we don't get things off right, it will make or break your SEO campaign. Most often in the field, what we see go awry is that a campaign does not get kick-started off correctly. And that means auditing the website. What we most often find is there are even root files on your website, such as robot.txt, sitemap.xml file. It's a little more technical. But those actually govern and tell the search engine what to do and how to behave once it hits your homepage. What pages to include, exclude. What pages to give more weight to. And on-page optimization. All of the pages need to be optimized differently and to focus on different topics. But it's really auditing your website is the first step. Content engines. Writing unique, engaging content with targeted keywords. This is very important. And Google's smart. Google also checks to see that your content reads like a human. So yes, keyword saturation is important. The things you want to show up for on the first page need to be included within your content, woven in different pages, focus on different topics. But if you spam it and you have too many keywords, we see this often a lot when we kick off new campaigns. If you have repeated certain things too many times, you will get dinged. Let me give you a few numbers actually to help you out. Rule of thumb, homepage. try to incorporate all of your target keywords minimum of once. That's it, once. Once or twice maybe, no more. Very fundamental though, your homepage, everything starts at your homepage. Subpages, which focus in on more specific topics and less keywords. Rule of thumb, try to incorporate your keywords 2 to 3 times, just to make it easy in your content and subpages. Localization team helps get you grounded. So we're scouting out the field. When we look at the potential to how much work it'll really take to get on the first and second pages of Google, we're also looking to see, we also want to look at your competition. We want to look at how well grounded are they? Have they maximized their maps, Google Places? Are they getting reviews? Lastly, every page of attention. So this is also part of the auditing process. We want to optimize every single page, and we want to look for issues. We have to start things off. There's no such thing as kicking off a campaign and just doing SEO work, just doing engineering over here, and not having a lot of broken fundamental issues which we have to correct on the website. And those may include duplicate content, plagiarism, certain keywords repeated too many times, JavaScript, Flash that cannot be read by search engines. There are ways to make that SEO friendly. So let's move on. Here's the fun stuff. How about we audit yourself, and we can also audit the competition. So I want to give you a few tools to walk away with that are going to help you really have a lot of insight as to where your website stands and how much competition, how much work your competition has done. When we look at the competition, we can sort of even guesstimate how many man hours have been put into it. It's there, it's visible. If Google can't see it, then you're not going to be ranked. So because it is visible, 100% visible, we're able to look at that information too. Firstly, keyword research. You can just go to your browser, Google Keyword Estimator. Keep in mind though, your competitors, the strategy of picking keywords is not just picking the same exact keywords that were suggested to all of your competitors. So there's a way to do keyword research correctly, and that is there are opportunities and niches there that you want to be aware of. Check backlinks. Backlinks, the most fundamental engineering piece of SEO. You can check the number and quality of backlinks. These are other websites that link and are associated back to your website, and that is what fundamentally helps improve your popularity, grade, and ranking on the first page of Google. To check, just go to linkdiagnosis.com. It works well in Firefox. Check out the number. It's a numbers game, it's all math. See how many backlinks you have, see how many your competitors have. Third, check your page rank. This is not always indicative of your SEO prowess, but it will give you a very good feel for how well Google knows you're there. Page rank will also tell you how often your website's being visited. It's also free. You can just Google it. You can look for free online utilities that show you the page rank on a scale of 0 to 10 of your website. You can do the same for your competitors, or you can enable it or reinstall your Google toolbar. It's really neat. It has a meter, and it'll show you on a scale of 0 to 10 what it considers your page rank to be based on popularity. Audit your content. So I spoke of how often we see issues with copied content. You also cannot copy your own content. You cannot have duplicate content on many pages. You'll get dinged for that too. It needs to be unique, or you need to exclude, working with a partner to help you exclude certain pages that do have the duplicate information. Copyscape.com. You go to copyscape.com, not only will it tell you if you have copied information, this is a lifesaver. It'll tell you who's copied your content from your website and exactly what percentage they've copied. And it'll highlight what they copied. This is great. We've kicked off some campaigns, and we'll find out. And so we have come across some campaigns that the business had always had a lot of copied content for many, many years past. We're working with a medical company, and It turned out they had 36 pages of really good content, and they've been in business for 15 years. Their website went up 10 years ago. Guess how many pages of copied content they had? 38. So we had to fix that. Check competitors' traffic. This was really cool. I'll give you a visual. Little note though is you have to have a certain amount of traffic for you to see how much traffic the website's getting. So hopefully it will work for you, unless the website's really not getting any traffic. Compete.com. Compare yourself against a competitor. I'll show you how much traffic they are getting. It's there. Lastly, websitegrader.com. This is a canned tool, but it's very interesting to look at because it gives you a lot of factors that affect your website, your domain names, authority, even includes backlinks.